Every year, every single resident of Alaska, every man, woman, and child gets a check in the mail. Some years it's $1,000, some years more. Not welfare, not a tax refund, a dividend, their share of the oil under their feet. Norway went even further. Their oil fund is now worth well over $1 trillion, the largest sovereign wealth fund on earth, quietly owning a slice of nearly every major company in the world for 5.5 million people. Now, a US senator wants to do the same thing, not with oil, with artificial intelligence. A $7 trillion fund, $1,000 a year for every American. I'm Malay, founder of AdiOS platform, and today I want to show you why this proposal, whatever happens to it in Congress, just changed the AI conversation forever. And what Norway understood that almost everyone is still missing. Let's go. Here's the playbook, and it's older than most people think. In the 1970s, Alaska struck oil, and they faced a question every resource-rich place faces. The oil belongs to everyone, but the companies extracting it are owned by someone else. So who gets rich? Alaska's answer: take a royalty on every barrel, put it into a permanent fund, invest it, and pay every citizen an annual dividend. Forever. The oil will run out one day. The fund won't. Norway saw Alaska and raised the stakes. They didn't just tax the oil companies, they built their own. Statoil, now Equinor, meant Norway wasn't just collecting royalties on someone else's extraction. Norway owned the operator, the capability, the expertise, the asset itself. That distinction, royalty versus ownership, is the single most important idea in this entire video. Hold on to it. The principle underneath both: when wealth is generated from a resource that belongs to everyone, the returns should compound for everyone, not drain away to whoever got there first with the biggest drill. Keep that sentence in mind, because we are about to swap one word in it. June 2026. Senator Bernie Sanders has floated the idea of the American AI Sovereign Wealth Fund Act. Imagine a bill like this. The mechanics would be simple and radical. Any company making more than $200 million a year from AI would transfer half its equity into a public fund. At today's valuations, that fund would be worth roughly $7 trillion. A 5% annual distribution, about $350 billion a year, could pay every person in America over $1,000 a year. Sound familiar? It's Alaska's oil check, almost to the dollar. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to feel about the politics. Reasonable people would fight hard over a 50% equity transfer, and they should. Here's what I want you to notice instead. Look at the premise a bill like this rests on. AI wealth is built on everyone's contribution. Every book, every forum post, every line of code, every medical record, every customer conversation that trained these models, that came from all of us. A bill like this treats AI as a resource extracted from the commons, like oil. That premise just entered the US Congress. It's now on the table at the highest level of the world's largest economy. The question is no longer whether AI wealth concentration is a problem. The question is, what's the right fix? Everyone says data is the new oil. It's catchier than it is accurate, because AI as a resource is stranger than oil in two ways, and both make the problem worse. First, oil is extracted once. Intelligence is extracted continuously. Alaska's oil left the ground one barrel at a time. But your organization's knowledge? Every prompt your employees type into a cloud AI, every document uploaded, every workflow automated, that's an extraction event every single day. And unlike oil, you don't even see it leave. Second, oil burns. Intelligence compounds. Burn a barrel of oil and that energy is gone, converted, spent, never coming back. But every insight your AI generates, every pattern it learns, every correction your team feeds back into it, that doesn't disappear. It compounds. It gets smarter, and it keeps compounding for as long as you keep feeding it. That's the extraction economy Sanders is trying to tax. But taxing it is only half the answer. Remember Norway. So, what did Norway actually do differently? Norway did not just tax the oil companies and redistribute the proceeds. Norway created Statoil, now Equinor, a state owned operator that sat inside the industry, learned the industry, and captured value at the source. That is pre distribution, not redistribution. You do not wait for profit to trickle down and then tax it. You own a piece of the machine that generates the profit in the first place. For AI, the fix is not only taxing the labs that train the models, it is owning your own operator, the layer that sits between your organization and every model you will ever rent. But here's the trap. Companies here own the operator and they think we need our own model. That is backwards. The model is not the asset. The model is a replaceable worker. Every few months, a better one ships and the old one retires. What actually matters is the memory underneath it, the corrections, the context, the institutional judgment that gets passed from one model to the next. Think of it this way. The model is an ephemeral worker. Every run distills a corrective signal into the brain underneath it. The brain is the asset. The model is just the byproduct. So here is the loop that actually creates an intelligence dividend. Every model you deploy observes an outcome. That outcome gets scored. Was it right? Was it useful? Did it save anyone time? The good patterns get promoted into shared memory. The memory compounds. And the next model you deploy, whichever vendor, whichever version, inherits everything the last one learned. Observe, score, promote, compound, and learn back. That loop is the dividend. It does not come from a check the government cuts you once a year. It comes from every single interaction your organization has with AI, feeding a brain that never resets and never leaves the building. So, when you are evaluating any AI contract, whether it is a bank, a hospital, or a factory floor, ask three questions. First, who owns the contract? You or the vendor? Second, does this system compound or does it reset every time you switch tools? Third, and this is the one people forget, where does the learning actually live? If the answer to that third question is somewhere outside your walls, you are not building an asset. You are renting someone else's. Where does the learning live? That is the real estate of the intelligence economy, not a data center address, a governance boundary. Who can query it? Who can revoke access? Which jurisdiction it is capped to? If your AI vendor can pull insights out of your organization and repurpose them for a competitor, you do not have a boundary. You have a leak. Own the boundary and you own the dividend. That is the shift underneath all of this. Not artificial intelligence as a product you buy off a shelf, but a circular operating system. Intelligence that compounds inside the institution that generates it, never resets, never leaves the boundary. Own the operator, own the brain, collect the dividend. If you are the one who signs AI contracts at your organization, send this to whoever else is in that room. And if you missed episode 1, where we broke down what is actually inside these deals, go watch that next. Tell me in the comments, when you look at your own AI vendor contract, where does the learning actually live? I read everyone. I am Malay, founder of AdiOS platform. This has been the Intelligence Dividend. See you next week.